Hey there, welcome to the Parent Drill, a game plan for powerful parents. My name is Coach Craig Kolick, and I have been a collegiate volleyball coach for 27 years. I have won over 1,000 NCAA games. I've also been an athletic director at the collegiate level for 20 years. And for 10 years, I've also been a mental performance coach. I've coached over 1,000 athletes, and I've also helped raise athletes. Two of my nephews and one of my niece are also athletes. So I helped raise them athletically at a young age. And I also have a son that is an athlete as well. And finally, I'm also the owner of CCK Performance Training. So when I first started coaching, one of the things that broke my heart was seeing talented athletes underperform because of the pressure, anxiety, and stress that affected them. It was crushing. It was affecting their confidence in and out of their sport. They weren't able to show up powerfully for themselves and their teammates, and worst of all, they were losing their love for the sport. Now, as a parent, I know you feel this too. I hear this from parents all the time. If only she would believe in herself like I believe in her, she would play so much better. Or I want my son to stop comparing himself and caring so much what others think and just focus on himself and having fun. Comparison is tough. Another one that I hear a lot is if only she would get out of her head, she would play up to her abilities. And one more that just a lot of parents talk to me about is I just want her to play with confidence, bounce back from mistakes, and stop trying to be perfect all the time. And we all suffer from perfectionism time to time, and it's the real deal when you're trying to create new habits and perform at a high level. So, what do we do as parents? We start thinking like, how can I help? What do I say? How can I fix this? So we say the wrong or maybe the right thing at the wrong time, which adds more pressure when we're trying to help. And then we end up default to saying nothing. So as parents, what I want you to understand is what we say matters and can make or break our athletes' confidence. So this is why I want to share the parent drill. It's a solution to helping parents support their athletes in overcoming mental barriers and focusing on their performance without sounding overbearing or unintentionally offering the wrong advice. It all starts with how we as parents can help build our athletes' confidence. So there's 5 steps we need to understand when it comes to building our athletes' confidence. First step is daily growth. It's the day-to-day life of our child. Second step is routine. So it's the pre-game routines before competition. Third step is in competition. What happens during those practices, during those games, during the competitions. Fourth step is post-competition. And then the fifth step is the long game. Just something that we really need to be aware of because it takes a long time to really get to the level that we're trying to get to by changing habits. Before we jump into the drill, I just want to give you a quick overview about performance. So there's 3 steps to performance change. And honestly, it's anything that we're trying to change in life. It doesn't have to be in performance in sports. It can be anything that we do in life when we're just trying to change bad habits. It's about awareness, strategy, and action. So awareness of what we're doing, and then taking a specific strategy to try to change that habit, and then taking action on that strategy to actually change the habit. There's also 2 states of being that I want to make sure you understand. Powerful and primal. So powerful is about rest and relaxation. Hope, gratitude, joy, compassion, peace, calm, curiosity, courage, excitement, optimism, celebration, love. And the primal state of being is fight or flight. It's about stress, anxiety, overwhelm, boredom, anger, impatience, jealousy, worry, sadness, rage, irritation, disappointment, to name a few. So the powerful state of being is the best chance for your athlete to think less and be in the zone during competition. So that's why I wanted to make you aware of this is where we're trying to be is in that powerful stage. It's where we want to try to have your athlete be competing in as much as possible. So the first phase, the first step, daily development. This is the day-to-day between practices and competitions. This is where your athlete's self-perception is formed and it's actually enforced. So, just a reminder again, our words impact our athletes' confidence. So, for example, when our athletes performing, we'll ask them questions like, why are you doing something and not this other thing? So, in other words, they may be doing a skill or they did something during a game incorrectly, but we know it's done a different way as a parent or even as a coach. So we start to question it. And the thing is, when we question it, most times we don't mean anything by it. We think we're helping, but subconsciously it affects your athlete moving forward. So the important piece here is when we criticize our children, they don't stop loving us, they stop loving themselves, and that impacts how they compete. So that's a really crucial part. They don't stop loving you, they start having self-belief or limited self-beliefs that really affects how they love themselves. So there's three key points to remember during the daily phase. First one's awareness, recognize what they can control. Second one is support, reinforcing their strong positive traits. And the third phase is initiate. We want to engage their mind. So for awareness, recognize and applauding what is in their control. So we tend to focus on outcomes a lot, and that lowers confidence. So instead, we want to focus on the process, and we want to get them to focus on the process. This is going to equal higher confidence. And examples of process is their attitude, their preparation, their effort. Okay, those are all simple examples of focusing on those things for focusing on process. So grades, goals, stats, they're all outcome based, and that adds pressure, which leads to your athlete subconsciously thinking they need to control everything. So, what we need to focus on instead is process based values. And we actually, when we work with our athletes in our powerful comparative program, we teach this very structure. We teach our athletes what we call the ape mentality. And it's basically being able to control the controllables. So, confidence for your athlete is about self trust, it's about feeling at home with themselves, regardless of their emotions. In the support phase, we want to reinforce their strong positive traits. So their sport is not who they are. Their sport is what they do. What qualities do you love most about your child? I want you to think about that. It could be hardworking, kind, courageous, funny. Okay, a way to think about it is if they decide to not do their sport at all tomorrow, moving forward for the rest of their life, what qualities do you love most about them? Again, this is a values based system. So we don't want them to be known as the middle hitter on the team. We want them to be known as the hardworking, kind teammate. Okay, there's a difference there. And that last part is really going to help build who they are. Again, it's based off of principles and not preference. A principles based system is going to make them a much better athlete, a better teammate, and a better student and overall person. Finally, is initiate. We want to engage their mind. So instead of trying to fix their journey, we want to accompany them on their journey. We want to walk next to them on it. Teach them how to think, teach them how to trust themselves. We do that by asking good questions instead of automatically offering solutions. And that's the hard part for a lot of parents because we just want to fix. We want the best for our child. And I get it. I'm right there with you. And I find myself doing it a lot. But if you can take a step back and just ask good questions to get them to think on their own and teach them how to think, they're going to trust themselves so much more when it comes to things that it really matters in. Okay, so people often confuse feeling good with confidence. It's not. Confidence is not about feeling good all the time. Confidence is about normalizing their feelings they're having. We want our athletes to process the feelings, not suppress them. If we can ask good questions, it opens them up to talk more, and then we can teach them how to think. A good way to do this is tell me more question. I love this question. So a lot of times when we asked initially, like that must have been hard. Tell me more about that. that's going to get them to open up more. Okay, that's going to get them to think a little bit more. One thing I want to note here is that parents and coaches often try to really motivate by fixing things. Fixing things is not the way you want to go to add confidence to your athlete. Motivation is not a good training partner. So don't rely on motivation to fix things. We want to do is we want to seek the underlying issue with good questions, followed by the tell me more question. And this will really start to build a rapport of your child starting to think for themselves. So, for example, one of the reasons why we'll do this is it may not be what you think it is. So, maybe it's not that they need extra reps when they're struggling. Maybe they're just having trouble scheduling and it's totally throwing them off. Okay, it's an underlying issue. It's not about the extra reps. It's about they're just having trouble with their schedule and they can't piece things together. And that's what we can help them with. And that's what they can learn more about on how to get themselves going in the right direction. So, motivations for us as a parent, it's important. There's really 3 steps to it. We want to model confidence as a parent. We want to be able, as much as we possibly can, be that model, be that example of confidence. And then we also want to recognize the cause with good questions. All right, we talked about how important open-ended questions, good questions are, and engage their mind. So that's a motivation for you to get them to be more confident. And then also we need to release things. And this is probably the hardest part because I want you to understand it's not your journey. It's your child's journey. It's your athlete's journey. So it's so hard to do. I know I'm going through it myself, but we've got to release. And if we can release, it's going to help them that much more. Ultimately, how they approach the journey comes from you. Okay, so the more you nag, the more they resist. So we want them to be able to approach that journey from themselves. Again, experience is the best teacher, good and bad. So we can lead them there and we can get them to be open-minded and ask good questions. But ultimately, they have to go through things to experience, to learn, and really engage their mind in that direction. So that's hugely important. The second step is about routine. So routine preparation. This is the pre-routine part of the experience for them, whether it's pre-practice, pre-game, pre-competition. It's all about this pre-competition time. So this is an important and potentially fragile time for an athlete. So here's the thing. During the time leading up to competition, what you say and what you do impacts their focus, their nerves, and pressure. A good routine allows them to relax and do their thing. And this is what we teach our athletes in our program. We want our athletes to be creatures of habit when it comes to competition because that is where they are most comfortable. So I want to show you how we're all wired through what's called is a belief loop. So in pre-competition, we have a belief loop, and we have a belief loop all through our lives as well. But beliefs lead to thoughts, thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to results. Okay, so what they're thinking pre-competition, I want to do well. I hope we win. We need to win. I don't want to mess up. Who'll be in the crowd? They're always talking about. I can tell you that as a coach on on the bench, they will tell me exactly who's in the crowd. Professors, teachers, parents. They're thinking that as soon as they're sitting on the bench or warming up during a game. Also, what are they feeling? Nerves, anxious, excited, unconfident, uneasy, overwhelmed. Confidence is all about self-trust. That's the thing. It's about feeling at home with themselves regardless of their emotions. Confidence is the ability to accept a wide range of emotions. So we want them to, again, process these feelings and not suppress them. Confidence is not just about allowing positive emotions. We need to be positive all the time. That's not what it's about. They can feel nervous, but still be confident. They can feel overwhelmed, but still be confident and trust their training. So that's what we really want to get them to be comfortable with. So what they need routines. They need assurance. They need reminders of capabilities, and they need trust in themselves. What they don't need is your stress and nervousness. They don't need recalling past mistakes, information about opponents or competition. They don't need reminders about how important the competition is. Ultimately, what they need is your calm presence. So, some examples of what you can do to help them, what to say. Have fun, play hard. You got this. I love you. Do your best, forget the rest. Can't wait to watch you play. That's a great one. Do your thing. Trust your training. Love you. Okay. Make it unique to you and your child. And then what to do. Make sure your nerves don't impact them. Smile and expressions and confident body language. Give them room and allow them to take the lead and do their thing. So examples of what to do, you give them a hug, special handshake, eye contact, smile. And maybe there's a phrase that you guys come up with. You can send them a text. Maybe do a pregame snack or pregame dinner as a routine. Also, something that's really important is let them know if you will or will not be at the game. That's important to them to know one way or the other. Again, whatever it is for you and your athlete, make it unique. Make it work for you guys, because what may work for me and my son may not work for you and your daughter. Okay, so we want to make it very special for yourself and your child. So just like our athletes, us as parents, we as parents need to develop a pre-competition routine. Okay, I call it your pie. So it's preparation, prepare, implementation, implement, and evaluate. Okay, so prepare, state your purpose, make your intention clear. So, for example, I love watching you play. My job is to be what you need to play your best. That is your preparation, that's your purpose. And then ask what type of support they need. Ask what they need and what is not helpful. That's even more because they'll be straight out with you like, I don't need you doing this. That doesn't help me prepare. Know their hype number. So when we work with our athletes, in our program, we teach them about the hype number. And this is basically, are they how hyped are they? Are they ready to fall asleep or are they ready to run through a brick wall? And then we teach them how to be aware of that and how to shape that so it's a powerful tool for them to be ready for the competition. And then ask them what do they need to get to that hype number? What do they need from you to be there? Give some ideas, give some suggestions. And then finally, plan ahead. I'm going to focus on some simple actions that I can do to make sure I'm showing up for you and how you want me to be. It may take some time, but we're going to figure out what works best for us. How's that sound? Okay, so it's very simple. It's just you being forthright that you're learning this as well, but you're trying to be the best version of you to help them in what they need. Okay, and then implement. So what's your plan? Decide what you'll do. Determine your plan. What's your pre-competition plan going to be? What's your message? Decide what you will say. Okay, make it a routine. And then recognize your stress points. What might trigger you to have a bad pre-competition routine? Sometimes we get amped up as parents. We're either super hyped or maybe super nervous, probably more nervous than them. Okay, but recognize those stress points because the way that you are is going to affect their confidence. They're going to read off of that. Okay, they're wired to be confident through you. In competition. So in competition, one of the important things that I like to note is that it's your child's time to shine. I can't say it any clearer. It's their time. Okay. So the goal is to keep them out of the primal state of being and not thinking. The more we can keep getting them into the powerful state of being, the better chances for them to be in the zone as much as possible. 3 things we can focus on, parents, in this phase. It's understand your role, ask your child what they need, and then be what they need. So your role in their sport, you have their sport, and then you have them as an athlete, then you have a coach, then you have a ref, and then we have you. You're not the ref, you're not the coach, and you're not the athlete. Your role as a parent is two things: provide opportunities and shape environment. So, provide opportunities is extra skill lessons, maybe working out with them as well, weight training, hiring a mental performance coach, just giving them opportunities to improve. All right. And then how you shape their environment. There's two ways you can do that: nonverbal and verbal. So, how do you best support and encourage your child in competition? Nonverbal, your body language is everything. Our kids can sniff out from a mile away our body language if it's negative. Okay, so verbal, as parents, we like to point out what needs to happen. Not the greatest thing at times, but it's again, it comes from the heart. So a lot of times we get caught up in the competition as well. And an example I can give you is for volleyball specifically, teams struggling passing, and coaches do this too. Teams struggling passing, and parents yell out, "We need to pass." It's kind of like everybody in the gym knows that, including the passers. Like they're the ones that feel the most pressure on it. And honestly, that's like taking a math test and yelling out, "Come on, we need to add more." Like it's just not helpful. Okay, so understanding that's really important. Understand what your verbal, how you're shaping the environment through your words is important. And then also, we need to ask what they need. What does support look like to them when they compete? Here's the key: how can you balance that with your personality? Because we're all different. We all have different personalities at games. My parents were super quiet and just kind of sat off a little bit in the side in the stands and just watch and support that way. There's other parents that are super hyped up and super vocal and super cheering. Awesome. There's no right or wrong on that until it goes the wrong way with your athlete's confidence. So ask your athlete what support looks like to them, and then find a good balance between what they need and your personality. It's tough to start and to figure it out, but once you start getting rolling on it, it becomes more second nature to you. And then finally, be what they need. Your calm, supportive presence is the most important. Your body language speaks volumes. If you're constantly waving your hands in the air and screaming at refs and the coaches, etc., you're affecting your athlete. Sometimes we just teach in our program too, like we teach them how to breathe. Sometimes a good deep breath is all you need. So a very specific breath work, like we do in our program, it really empowers our athletes. It can be the same thing for you as well. Take that breath. All right. For us, it gives us a chance to get our athletes back into the present moment focus needed for the task at hand. For you, that breath gets you back into the present moment of the task at hand of what does your athlete need you to be. Okay. And not out of control. So you may not think you are, but trust me, it's the first thing the kids are talking about on the bench. Okay. And I'm talking about you being out of control. Okay. So some are embarrassed, some are laughing, but either way, if they're one or two of those, or even something different, their focus is now on you and not the team and not the game. So again, how can you encourage confidence in your athlete through your body language? Finding that middle ground is really important to your athlete. And the fourth step is love. This is about the post-competition. Post-competition is one of the most important times for the athlete and parent relationship. We want to make sure we don't annihilate our kids' confidence on the car ride home, per se. Okay, so the way we want to do this, again, I want to kind of go over the belief loop again now, post-competition. Again, beliefs lead to thoughts, which leads to feelings, which leads to actions, leads to results. So what are they thinking? Played poorly. So if they're thinking we played poorly, how do you think they're feeling, right? And then what actions will that take? And what results? Bad results lead to bad beliefs. So when they're playing poorly, I ruined it for my whole team. I'm terrible. I messed up. What do they think when they play well? Think about that as a thought. That was amazing. How are they feeling? They're feeling unbelievable. Their actions are really positive and confident. Results, better results. Better results leads to better beliefs. So that was amazing. I wonder what my parents think. That felt great. So you have two different versions of playing poorly, playing well. You got frustration and confidence, defeat and apathetic, and sad and joyful. So what they need again, routines, assurance of your love regardless of the performance, and a space to feel however they want. What they don't need is your questioning, your own feelings about the competition, and your coaching critique. Ultimately, what they need is your calm presence. So here is your post-game love strategy. So let them direct. They are in the driver's seat of how they want to process after a competition. Put your own emotions aside for now. All right, next, open the opportunity. Hold space for your athlete before you try to talk to them. Hug them, high five them, fist bump. The best thing that anybody can do, any parent can do is, hey, where do you want to eat? Like that's just a default. That should be the automatic. Every parent does that after a game. Where do you want to eat? And if you're in the car ride home, just keep it simple. Do you want to talk about the game? Let them be the driver's seat of this. You open the opportunity for them, but let them take control of it. And then validate emotions. Mirror their emotions. Again, don't try to fix their problems. So if they're feeling sad, mad, frustrated, or maybe they're spiraling from how they did, you can easily say, like, you're feeling sad. That makes sense. Tell me more about that. Or it feels like you're frustrated. That would be hard. That must be hard. Okay. Or maybe it's a joyful feeling. Maybe it's joy. You're feeling really proud of yourself. It sounds like you had so much fun. Just validate the emotions. Don't suppress them. Bring them to the forefront. Okay. And let them learn from them. And then encourage self reflection, inspire and foster inner strength. So if they're feeling sad or mad or frustrated, what do you think about that? How do you think you might change that for next time? That's a great question. How can we do better for next time? That's a lot of just processing what just went on and how can we get better moving forward. So what do you think about that? Or maybe it's a happy, joyful, proud feeling. Did you have fun? How do you feel like you did? It takes a lot of courage for you to take that final shot, something like that. How do you feel like you did in the game? Looked like you were having a lot of fun out there. Or, again, hustle. Looked like you put in a lot of effort. You hustled hard. Those plays really matter because of your effort. Okay, so it really just gets self-reflection going. It inspires and fosters inner strength from them. And then finally, it's the long game. So in an era of instant gratification, understanding the long game as a player and a parent is crucial. There's the law of cause and effect, and I'm sure some of you are aware of this, but as an athlete, I want you to kind of see how this works. Why most people fail is people start a journey, but they don't get effect from the cause instantly, so they give up before they reach a point where the effects start to compound. So in the beginning of the red, when the red's really high, that's a memory. That's when they decide they're going to change a habit. So their memory is fresh in their mind, so they get a lot of high input from that. But over time, days go on, they start to remember that high of that memory, and then they just kind of bottom out because they're constantly just doing the repeat habit over and over and over again, which is good. But what we want to understand is that it's going to take time to change. Changing habits takes time. It's on average, it takes about 60 days to change a habit. So just like interest in a bank, over time, the interest compounds and you start to see more and more reward for your effort. So getting them to think about the long run, like, yep, you have to do the monotonous routine day in and day out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever long it's going to take. But eventually, when it clicks, that effort's really going to compound and the effect's going to be massive. They're going to see that great gains from their consistent effort. Okay, same thing with learning new skills, um, or even a new position, or even a new sport. It's something that is going to be a long game for them. Even moving up in a level too, a new level going from high school to college. You have to remind them that it is a long game and that the law of cause and effect will happen if they keep putting the effort in and day out. And you got to constantly remind yourself that as well. And then quick to note about this is development for success. So athletes, and I think parents too, we all think that what it looks like when we're going to try something new is that it's just going to be a straight line going to the top. That's what success is. But honestly, it's the version of the right where it's all scrambled and jumbled. We're taking steps backwards. We're going up. We're going down. But eventually we get there. All right. So the path to that goal is not a straight line. But you do have to understand that it's going to take a couple of steps backwards because you're changing bad habits to take a giant step forward. So we need, again, remind them that it's about the enjoyment of the process of improvement and not just the end result. Okay, stop looking at the end result of things and let's just enjoy the day-to-day of competition and trying to get better and trying to achieve something that we never achieved before, learning a new skill. And then your long game strategy. So as parents, this is what we want to do. We want to ask and evaluate, check in with your athlete, and continue to gain awareness. We want to work on our skills. What do you need to start, stop, and continue to empower your athlete? And that start, stop, and continue is something that we teach athletes as well when we're trying to reach goals. What do we need to start doing, stop doing, continue doing to move forward towards what we're trying to accomplish? Okay, so evaluate yourself a little bit. And finally, love yourself. You guys are doing a great job as parents. You're learning new skills just like they are on the court or in the field, and it takes time for results to compound. So remember, you're going to make some mistakes along the way as well, so don't beat yourself up. But I promise you, if you follow these steps in this outline, you're going to see so much growth with your relationship with your athlete and your child. It's going to be so much more fun for you, and you're going to see so much better results from them and what they're trying to accomplish. And it's going to be so much happier too. So your new habits and actions will take time. So just keep sticking with it. And again, your consistency is the key to success of building your athletes' confidence. So a quick note about my powerful competitive program. This is how student athletes can have the mental skills and confidence to perform under pressure, rebound from mistakes, and enjoy their sport to the fullest and become that player and person you know they can be. This system equips your athlete with all of my best performance strategies that I've learned from coaching collegiate athletes for nearly 3 decades. If you're interested in having your athlete reach a new level in everything they do in and out of their sport, this program will help them get there. So thank you for watching this video. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. If you're interested in learning more about my program for your athlete, don't hesitate to reach out as well through my email at craig@cckmental.com or my social media. Instagram is one that I really have a ton of information out there on, so follow me as well on that at Coach Craig Kolick. And then my Facebook is CCK Performance Training. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.